You all know the drill. We are still banned over on my first channel, so we are going to continue to pump out the sports content daily, hopefully, while that channel is down. Today, James Harden has tapped into the time machine of the NBA and has dipped himself into a time pool and brought it back this month. James Harden has been on another level, especially in the month of March and late February, but even throughout this entire season, he's really found a new groove with this Clippers team this year, and he's kind of willing them to maybe a play-in / playoff spot. James Harden is putting this team on his back and is playing like not a prime James Harden, but a pre-prime James Harden. His isolation scoring is back, his playmaking is back. He's still turning the ball over at a high level, but it's okay because he's James Harden. That's going to happen. If you like what you see today, like and sub. We do basketball content literally all the time now. Appreciate y'all for watching, and let's get right into this. James Harden is one of the best high school recruits ever, in my opinion. And when you really watch his high school mixtape, you just understand that this guy had a different way to score the basketball than everyone did at his time. He was super good in the isolation, and I really liked him as a prospect. Now, was I alive? Barely. But do I go back and watch these older players' high school mixtapes? Yeah, I do, because that's just how you learn about players at a time, how they develop over time, what makes them better, how they got worse, everything. He was the 14th player in the country, the third best shooting guard, and the #1 player in California, and a 5-star recruit according to the 24/7 composite. Now, he was in a class with people like OJ Mayo, Kevin Love, Derrick Rose, Kyle Singler, DeAndre Jordan even. There were a lot of players that would end up being NBA players in this class. But James Harden, I think, does turn out to be one of the better ones coming out of this class, and he would commit to the University of Arizona State over a ton of West Coast teams like Washington, UCLA, Arizona, the big dogs in the West Coast at the time during the 2007 recruiting class. James Harden would actually play 2 seasons at Arizona State, which I really don't understand why. I never really figured out why he played 2 seasons, because in his rookie year or his freshman year, he really wasn't that bad. He averaged 18 points a game, 2 steals, 3 assists, 5 rebounds, shot 40% from 3 and 52.5% from the field, and played every game and started every one but one. James Harden was phenomenal in his freshman year. I have zero idea why he didn't just go to the draft. Maybe he just wanted to get another shot at the tournament. Maybe he wanted to get another shot at the Pac-12 championship. I don't know. Or I guess at that time it would be the Pac-10. But in that sophomore season, he'd average 20 points, 1.5 steals, 4 assists, 5.5 rebounds. He'd shoot 35% from 3 and 49% from the field with about the same amount of shot attempts a game. Maybe one more in each category. James Harden was a very good college player. One of the better ones ever, in my opinion. I'm a major James Harden fan. I am a bigger fan of people like Russell Westbrook and all of them. That's a different story. Me and Russ, we just get along super well, right? But when it comes down to it, James Harden is one of the better isolation, if not the best isolation scoring guard we've ever seen. He ended up being a Pac-10 player of the year in his sophomore season. He would be a 2-time all Pac-10 team, 2009 all Pac-10 tournament, Pac-10 all freshman. James Harden was that dude. And he ended up getting some very good grades on the NBA draft.net scoring chart. In the intangibles, he got a 10. In the passing, he got a 9. In the leadership, he got a 9. In the defense, he got a 9. Imagine James Harden getting a high grade for his defense. Well, as a prospect, that is not something that a lot of us would have expected. And there's some really weird ones, like ball handling at a 7, quickness at a 7, size at a 7. I mean, this is a shooting guard who's 6'5", 220. His size seems pretty good to me. I don't know about you, but that seems like pretty good size. His jump shot was only an 8. I mean, he was a completely different prospect than what he turned out to be in the NBA. He did compared to guys like Manu Ginobili and Brandon Roy. I have the Manu Ginobili comp pulled up for later, but some of his strengths, according to NBA draft.net, include a very smooth and crafty wing player. Used his sophomore season to add new dimensions to his game, and he proved to be a steady and consistent scoring threat. So basically, he would just be a great scorer at the next level. He had a great feel for the game. He makes great reads and is an extremely unselfish player, which we're seeing especially later in his career with all the assists and the way that he's getting the ball out to his teammate. In ISO situations, he has a variety of deceptive and shifty moves to go to create space from anybody on the floor. But the weaknesses is that he ended Arizona State season with 2 very bad performances in the NCAA tournament, which was unfairly taken off some of the momentum of the great regular season he had. The way he played in the tournament was more recent than the great regular season, so he's going to catch more slack for it. It just is what it is. They said that he didn't really have the great size to really compete with a lot of people at his position. Because think about it, at the time, you want your shooting guards to be these big defenders. You want them to be literally out there doing a great job at just locking up the other people. I think of like a Tony Allen was like your precedent for a shooting guard at that time. And they also just talked about how his turnovers were a major problem. 3.5 turnovers a game is crazy. That number would only go up in the NBA. But like I said, I have the Manu Ginobili comp pulled up, and compared to Manu Ginobili, James Harden blows him out of the water. I mean, let's just be real. 4 championships to none. It does suck, right? Like, James Harden deserves a ring in my opinion, but he's averaging 11 more points, 2 more rebounds, 4 more assists. There's basically the same amount of steals. They're shooting about the same, especially considering how many more shots a game James Harden would put up. I do think it was a very good comp. I think it was a smart comp at the time. I don't think anybody could have predicted that James Harden would become arguably the best isolation scorer in NBA history, but he won an MVP. He's an 11-time All-Star. James Harden is going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, and he deserves every bit of it. And just to talk about how insane James Harden is, this is the same guy who in the month of January 2019 averaged 43.5 points per game on 38 minutes, 8 rebounds, and 7.5 assists. There's just different levels to his scoring game that we haven't seen ever in any player yet. He's just one of the best offensive players to ever touch a basketball. But why I talked about James Harden was due to this most recent season. He really has brought it back. The year before this, he would average 16.5 points, 5 rebounds, 8.5 assists, you know, nothing too crazy. But this year, he's upped it to 22.5, 6 rebounds, 8.5 assists again. He's just found his scoring bag back. He's regained the confidence or whatever he had before that made him such a great isolation player, that now all of a sudden he's letting these things fly left, right, and they're finding the bottom of the net. I mean, James Harden has really turned it up this year, and I think that he's going to lead the Clippers into maybe an 8 seed. I do think he has the potential to do that, especially with a healthy Kawhi. Anything is possible with a healthy Kawhi at this point. He would be the greatest player of all time if he didn't have the worst knees in NBA history. But now I want to go ahead and break down James Harden's isolation scoring from this most recent season. And just, you know, there isn't much to break down. We all know what James Harden's bag is, but I want to really just highlight it because he just deserves to get it highlighted. All right, here we go with these James Harden's isolation highlights. As you can see, I want to say that it might be Jake LaRavia on him. This is a mismatch. First of all, this is a major mismatch. James Harden is going to piece that up, and the step back is always there, man. I mean, this is tight defense. He is like less than probably 5 inches away from the ball at some point, and Harden just shoots it over him. Great arc, great everything. Right here, we have a plus defender in Desmond Bane on him. James Harden's going to take it cross or tween cross, drive, Brandon Clark in the paint. I mean, this is unfair moves right here. Look at this. Right here, this looks stopped. But James Harden has been playing for too damn long to get stopped here. He's going to Euro around Clark. That's an and 1 foul. Luke Kennard could not believe the call for some reason. That's a great call by the ref. Why do we keep throwing big men on James Harden? This is Kyle Filipowski, 6'10" at a Duke. Rookie year on James Harden. Harden is piecing that up all day off the glass and one. Why are we putting rookie big men on James Harden? That's just unfair. I'm going to highlight really quick one of my least favorite things that James Harden does that I always feel like is a foul. When he pushes off like this, like, look at where his arm is. That is a push off. Okay, slightly a push off. He gets his elbows out. Okay, he knows that he's going to put his elbows out, and he knows it won't get called. But, I mean, look at the separation. Look at the separation. If they're not going to call it, it's an easy bucket every time. That's a three-pointer. That's too easy. James Harden is a phenomenal player. But, yeah, that's going to do it for me. Appreciate y'all for watching. Shout out James Harden. Great, phenomenal player. NBA great. First ballot Hall of Famer. Top 30 player, arguably, ever. Just a great player. Great career overall. See y'all tomorrow. Until we are unbanned, and I'm thinking I'll just alternate days. I'll do basketball, then Hankis, then basketball, then Hankis, you know, just keep it going left, right, left, right, left. So yeah, appreciate y'all, and yeah, let's go.